Peace. So we're gonna do something a little different today. This tunnel right here is this was territory of one of the Zulu Nation's rival gangs. And I can't even say that the Zulu Nation had a history of rival gangs because we really never really had no rivals. This one group, the BallBusters, was a definite rival of the Zulu Nation, and it was on site between both groups. You know what I'm saying? And this is their turf, 137th Street and Broadway. This is the one line, and this is the tunnel that they did graffiti in. You know what I'm saying? And they were just known for being all over here. They had a graffiti group called Can't Be Stopped. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna take a look at the streets right now. Take this elevator. You know what I'm saying? And this is a new elevator just put in the last year. You know what I'm saying? Before now you gotta go up the streets. Up the elevator, trying to say. Jump in this elevator. And this is going to take us right up to Broadway, 137th, which is Harlem, New York, for those that's not familiar. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, this is a brand new elevator, and this is the turf of the BallBusters, who are affiliated with the Can't Be Stopped crew, who have b-boys and graffiti writers. You know what I'm saying? This is Harlem, New York. So this particular side is the west side of Harlem, which is kind of like a different world from the east side of Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Because the east side of Harlem is predominantly Puerto Rican, and this particular section of the Bronx, of Harlem, is the Dominican side, and it connects right to Washington Heights. You know what I mean? So we just right now on 137th and Broadway. See, they're still doing construction on this whole subway, you know, but commonly in 1980, 1981, this area was controlled by the BallBusters, who indeed were the arch enemies of the Universal Zulu Nation. And a lot of that stems from their beef with Rocksteady Crew, because Rocksteady Crew was, you know what I'm saying, affiliated with the Universal Zulu Nation, with Zulu King Crazy Legs and so on and so forth. They were actually identified as Rocksteady Zulu for a while. And you know, the history of Rocksteady Crew, they say they was founded in 1977, but it's more a little later than that. You know what I'm saying? And basically because they come from the Bronx Boys Rocking Crew. So, you know, much like the Zulu Nation, the dates and the timeline is a little off, you know what I'm saying? But look at these stores. You don't see these stores no more. School bags, toys, bags, all of that, clothes. You know what I'm saying? So this area probably looked a lot different. You know, I grew up in Brooklyn. You know, it has an old vibe to it. You know, you can see, you know, some new stores and a bunch of old stores, and new stuff like Chipotle over here. So now we on 138th and Broadway. So specifically, the BallBusters turf was 137 and Broadway all the way up, I think, to 145th. And the BallBusters had a problem with another group outside of the Zulu Nation, known as the Wild Boys, and I believe they're from 125th Street. You know, what that stems from, I'm not really sure. But I'll tell you like this, I don't know if there's a history of a chapter of the Zulu Nation here in this particular area where the BallBusters consider their turf. Because I know for a fact there was a legendary chapter 13, that was based in East Harlem, New York, which is on the other side of Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? And mainly the East Harlem would be like some of the lower numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like 96th Street, 112, 116, 113, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So this is like a total different world from East Harlem. And it will probably take you, no lie, like, well, you know, you would have to take basically like a bus over or have a car, you know what I'm saying, if you wanted to get through, you know what I'm saying. Trying to cross streets, dude. But yeah, so I'm gonna just cross the street, trying to give y'all a feel for the BallBusters turf and a little info. So the BallBusters was founded, I believe, in 1980 by a brother named Pinguita. I believe he's a Dominican. And the other brother, Modesto, is a Cuban brother, you know what I'm saying, who I believe was born in Cuba. So these brothers organized the BallBusters with brothers like a dude named Pony and so on and so forth, all throughout these streets. And they were a force to be reckoned with and respected. And, you know, if there was ever a group of people that, you know what I'm saying, when the elder Zulus, when I mentioned, like, not first generation Zulus, because a lot of the first generation Zulus were baby spades, and they got their own issues with, you know what I'm saying, probably like original clubs that they were fighting with in the streets, you know what I'm saying, but the second generation Zulus probably more so would always have that say where they were beefing with the BallBusters. I believe their colors were red and black, you know what I'm saying. And this is an era of New York where gangs were still out there. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a fairy tale that gangs died when hip hop started. There's some truth to just some of the activity fading out. And of course, we know the Black Spades moved, you know, they were still active and doing different things, but the Zulu Nation came out in the mid to late 70s and, you know, grew like wildfire, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, there's places like Wingstop and all these different, but you see it got an old look. This neighborhood got an old look to it, you know what I'm saying? And man, it's just like kind of crazy to know that the BallBusters used to be here deep and it was a dangerous time. And I'll add on, because you know, a lot of this video was inspired by a YouTube series called Brazen Breeds. Shout out to that brother, man. He did such an accurate, he did like an video talking about the BallBusters history. And I'm gonna put that in the link so y'all can see it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely check that out. It's like a 26-minute video. And I appreciated it because I heard a lot of stories from the elder Zulus about the BallBusters, but this brother put the pictures out, and you can see the faces of some of the individuals that started this. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, this is the BallBusters turf. You know what I'm saying? One of the arch enemies of the Zulu Nation, and I just wanted to share this info with, you know what I'm saying, the people and also the next generation of the younger Zulus, so they could have an idea of who the BallBusters were in relation to the Zulu Nation. Peace and love to all. I'm Zulu King L1 out of chapter 25 from the Zulu Union. Peace. Two things I wanted to mention that I didn't mention while I was filming this is that there's two legendary stories that definitely need to be shared about the BallBusters, and one of them being Fab Five Freddy, who was swinging a chair at a graffiti exhibit that was run by Henry Chalfant. All hell broke loose. The BallBusters burst into this Soho loft where there was this graffiti exhibit. Somebody was waving a gun. Supposedly, Fab Five Freddy defended himself, swinging a chair at people that were coming at him. And then all of this was going on. Someone screamed out, they got a gun. And, you know, the BallBusters wanted to settle all the beef with the use of a firearm, or they wasn't there to fight. Somebody wanted to b-boy it out. They didn't want to settle it with the break-in, so they was just, you know, there for violence. And, you know, there's a couple clips and videos. I'm gonna see if I can find them where Fab Five Freddy talks about this. It's a real dope story. You know what I'm saying? He probably talked about it on his recent book that he dropped not too long ago. But then I also wanted to talk about another one with one of my favorite movies from back in the day, 1985, the release of The Last Dragon, where the main star who portrayed Bruce Leroy the brother Taimak, who's a martial arts master, had his own run-in with the BallBusters. And supposedly he was at a club dancing with a female just before the movie dropped. I don't think he was quite famous yet, probably known as a martial artist throughout the community. But the fact is that the BallBusters were in the building that day, and Taimak actually had gotten jumped by the BallBusters to the point where, from what I remember the story, and I'll put the link up because I think he discussed this on Vlad TV, where the BallBusters, I guess he was dancing with a girl that was, down with the BallBusters, or she was dating one of the BallBusters, and the BallBuster seen it and challenged him to a fight. And then, I guess when he realized who he was, he didn't want to fight him one-on-one. So he went to the homies and told the rest of the BallBusters, like, yo, this guy tried to rob me for my chain over here. And the BallBusters rushed him and they called him outside. And, Taimak, being a martial arts master, probably feeling real good after filming The Last Dragon, went outside while his friends told him, no, don't do it. You don't know these guys. They dangerous. You could lose your life. And nevertheless, as soon as he went outside, he got hit with a bottle, got dizzy, defended himself. I think he took a couple of them out, knocked a few of them out. But he said they did get the best of him, and I believe he went to the hospital that night. And, shout out to Taimak for standing firm and getting down and defending himself. But little did he know that those BallBusters were some dangerous people. And to think that story, they could have ended the brother Taimak's life. And then, who knows if The Last Dragon would have even came out, or it would have just been overshadowed by that unfortunate violence, and he could have been, killed that night by the BallBusters, as they were no joke. But yeah, I had to add those two things and they slipped my mind, so I just had to extend the video, and I hope you enjoyed that footage. But I'm going to put some links up in the comments, or in the description, so you could check out more information about the BallBusters. Again, shout out to Brazen Breeds. They dropped a really dope 26-minute video discussing the BallBusters. Man, peace and love to all. Salute.